was on an 11-fight win streak, and he beat him easily tonight. Get over here. We're going to take him too.
What's up, guys? It's Maksat Ibraimov here for MMA Heart. Today I'm joined by Canada's and Brazil's very own heavyweight challenger, Caio Bigfoot Machado. How are you doing, Caio? Of course, right now you're in your training camp already for your next fight against Dante Almeida, about 6 weeks out. How are you feeling prior to April 27th UFC Fight Night?
Hey, Max, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. It's a pleasure. I'm doing great. Camp's been one of the best I've done in years. Feeling stronger, feeling the cardio is better. I'm putting the work. I felt with the last camp and all. One problems I had was I was having a hard time to find heavyweights to work in Vancouver in
Right.
BC. So I had with this camp I went to Brazil
Okay.
for a couple months to work to see the family and got able to work a little bit over there. I'm now going back and forth to work in Las Vegas to get some training done, working some other heavyweights, and that's been great. That's been be a way to feeling a little bit more the pressure, the energy of the heavyweight, the weight
Absolutely.
difference that I was missing. So I'm feeling great. I'm excited for this fight. As I said in other places before, I got the fire again with the Contender Series. I left all the weight on all the pressure of like performing get out of me, and I came too relaxed in the first UFC fight. I think now the nerves of the debut is gone. The relaxing is off. Okay, I'm ready and it's gone. I'm focused. I'm hungry. I can't wait to go there in 5 days.
Absolutely. And Caio, of course, before we get into your fight, this week was so action-packed with so many different MMA and boxing events. But first of all, I want to get your thoughts about Anthony Joshua, of course, knocking out Francis Ngannou like that in the second round. What did you make of that fight?
There wasn't much of a fight. Joshua came stronger, being aggressive. He he knew he had the advantage of size and experience, so he worked a lot of like this worked his body shot to call the attention there, and then he was coming to the head. He came a couple times to fake Francis and got the knockdown. After after the first round, the first knockdown, he was up, but still rattled. I knew the fight was going to be over soon, but that was a
Mhm.
brutal knockout. Like
Mhm.
being seeing on a flat line like that, that was scary.
And unfortunately, yesterday night at UFC 299, three of your very own Brazilians unfortunately tasted defeat. Of course, Gilbert Burns getting finished by Jack Della Maddalena. Of course, we also, Jailton Almeida, a man who was once made to be the next, UFC heavyweight champion, also, lost to Curtis Blades. And of course, Mateusz Gamrot also beat Rafael Dos Anjos. How much of a setback do you think this is for your fellow countrymen? And do you think that they can bounce back?
I think so with RDM, he's already in a different stage of his career where he's not really looking to. I don't think he's looking to get for another title run. He's enjoying
Mm-hmm.
fighting. He's having a good time there. He's gonna get a couple wins and losses and stay on around the kind of spot where he is right now in the rankings. But especially with Burns and Almeida, not just it's a big setback, but
Mm-hmm.
that was that was I felt kind of bad for them because they were doing so good, especially
Mm-hmm.
Almeida. Just how he was manhandling Blades on the first
Curtis
round,
Blades.
just
Mm-hmm.
taking him down at will,
Mm-hmm.
not taking any part of that, and
Mm-hmm.
he just made a mistake from shooting too quickly and from too far. Blades just took a step back and put the weight down and smashed hand. And he could have let it go, but he kind of kept holding the single leg. And I think that was the biggest mistake over there. If he just let it go, stood up and reset, he might be able to
Mm-hmm.
go back to the fight. But that was brutal. Like he was doing such a good performance, and same thing with Barnes. He was winning. He was the fight was going to a decision win to 30-27 probably to Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing, shot it wrong. Both of the double leg take down. This time got caught on the knee. But that's the sport, right? You
Mm-hmm.
don't win until you win, and any
Mm-hmm.
given second we can lose.
Right, absolutely. And what did you make, of course, of Dustin Poirier also beating Benoit Saint Denis and stopping the young and up and coming prospect?
Is the experience. You can tell like Simmons a great fighter. He's aggressive. He's strong. He has all the qualifications to be at the top of this game. But Poirier is just a dog, and he's such a veteran in this game.
Hmm.
He's he just got his shots. He figured out to find the timing and got the KO. Like Poirier is just one of the best lightweights around and probably ever. And
Hmm.
yeah, I'm always impressed with his performances, but I think Sandy will be back soon and will definitely come stronger from that. He learned, I believe he will learn a lot with that and come
Hmm.
up to do beautiful things on that division.
Hmm. And lastly, about that UFC 299 event happening in Miami, what did you think about the bantamweight action? Of course, Petr Yan comes back to the winning column, defeating Song Yadong, and of course, Sugar Sean O'Malley putting on an absolute masterclass against Marlon Chito Vera.
So I didn't watch the full fight with Son and Jan.
Hmm.
I just watched the end, and from what I heard and all, like Jan just got a great recovery. He did a great job. But I watched the last round. He was kind of losing up to the end, and he got the ground and pound and was able to steal the round. What was good for him. He needed a win. If he lost, it would be a fight
Hmm.
kid. So shows how tough that bantamweight division is. Like right now, anyone in the top 10 is it's a killer right now. Like for me, bantamweight and lightweight are insane to watch. Those guys are so high level right now.
Hmm. Hmm.
And with
Absolutely.
Sean, dude, I had my doubts with Sean, especially with this coming up, especially with the Jan fight. To be honest, but his last two performances has been great. Cheeto didn't even found him at all yesterday. The full work was there. He was using his um his reach, tagging him all the time.
Mhm.
Uh, Best performance of O'Malley's career, probably start to finish. He just
Absolutely.
um, clean swept Cheeto, and he couldn't even do anything.
Mhm. Absolutely. And of course, our next pay-per-view event is a very well-anticipated UFC 300, where a number of your, once again, fellow countrymen Brazilians fighting: Alex Pereira, Charles Oliveira, Diego Lopes, Davison Figueiredo. How excited are you for this event? And how do you think your Brazilians will do in this?
Yeah, I'm 200 looks uh, one of my favorite. It looks great on paper. Like every single fight is a killer. Honestly, the from start to finish, it's all great fights. You have Figueiredo and Cody Gabriel starting
Cody
tonight.
Garbrandt? Hmm.
Yeah, Gabriel starting tonight. It's gonna be a banger from start to finish, and I
Hmm.
think all the Brazilians has great chances. I
Hmm.
think with starting with the first fight, Gabriel and Figueiredo, it's gonna be a war.
Hmm.
I
Of course,
I
Diego
don't
Lopes is
know.
up and rising.
Diego is such a beast. Like I think
Hmm.
he's definitely one of the future stars on the Brazilian for the Brazilians. He's coming up strong in the UFC. Great fighter for Brazilian MMA. He has that hairstyle that's unique for him.
Hmm.
And every time he's fights is just he goes to the kill. Like he's a killer.
Absolutely.
With But my favorite fight of this card is definitely Charles and
Charles and Arman Sarukian.
Sarukian. That's
Hmm.
gonna be fun. Like Charles is probably one of my favorite fights right now in the UFC.
Hmm. Absolutely.
He How he can just bring the chaos to the fight, and no matter how it goes, will be he goes down in spectacular fashion. He wins in spectacular fashion, and this fight has all everything to break the bank and show the world who's the next for the title fight on the
Mhm.
155. And the main event, the 205 fight. I love Pereira is a killer.
Mhm.
I still need to see how he works with his grappling, but
Mhm.
honestly, I don't see Hill being the guy that's gonna bring the fight to the ground. If
Mhm.
he's to try to exchange, I don't think, especially coming back from a nasty injury, if the fight stays standing, what you think it will, it's gonna be Pereira. Like I think
Mhm.
his leg kicks are nasty. He has such good control of distance and such power in his hands. If the fights keep going and Jamal can put the fight on the ground, that I think we will look for a KO in the third, I would say.
Mind, like where or when?
November 4th in São Paulo. I want to be fighting Brazil. I've been my entire MMA career in Canada. It's my dream to fight in Brazil. There's no better way to do it with my UFC debut.
You have expressed that you want to fight in Brazil as well, and of course we have UFC 301 happening on May 4th. Did you ever ask to be on that Brazilian card in Rio de Janeiro?
I did. I did. I asked right away when they offered me the fight, especially being a week apart from both
Mhm.
cards. But honestly, I understand it's a business decision on the UFC part. There's so many Brazilians already in Brazil, fighting Brazil with the Brazilian fan base. I did my entire career here in Canada,
Mhm.
so overall, we've been like, I have more Canadian fans than Brazilian fans. I speak English,
Okay.
so
Mhm.
my market, I'm more marketable over here than in Brazil for that, I
Mhm.
believe.
I
So
see.
I would say the UFC would like to keep me around here. I still want to fight in Brazil one day eventually, but for now I'm taking anything anywhere. I just
Mhm.
want to get back there and get fighting.
Absolutely. Once again, on April 27th, you're fighting at the Apex. For your Dana White's Contender Series fight, you also fought at the Apex. And of course, UFC Fight Night 232, Brendan Allen versus Paul Craig, you once again fought at the Apex. How excited are you for the future to fight in a big pay-per-view event in front of fans? And what does it feel like to fight in the Apex without any fans as well?
So I got the experience fighting with smaller venues, no crowd, back on the pandemic days. So wasn't something new to me when I had to fight
Mhm.
at Apex. But honestly, I'm really looking forward to go to the pay per view or a fight night on the road where I can feel the energy of the fans. I was in Toronto in January for the pay per view, and that energy was electric. That arena was fire, especially on the beginning of the card, and I really want to feel the energy for my next couple for while I'm fighting, while I'm walking in. So I really hope to get a good fight, get a good win against Maze, and be able to get out of Apex. Nothing against Apex. Vegas gives a great structure for us. We can work there as work at the as do all our preparation while we're there on the PI. So on that side is good for us, but there's nothing like fight in front of the fans, fight in front of the crowd, the energy, the sound, everything makes the fight different. So I'm really looking forward to getting out of Apex eventually.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Caio, I remember watching your fight at Dana White Contender Series. Just want to ask you how special was this night for you? Of course, to get a call from Dana White. And of course, Dana White telling you that you're going to get that UFC contract and meeting Dana White in person. Just how special was that night overall for you to finally get your chance in the biggest organization?
Yeah, like the Contender Series was a combination of everything that I've been working on my entire career. Like, has been many years that I put in the work. I've been fighting the original scene, everything to go to the UFC, to be able to be part of, to call myself a UFC fighter, be part of the roster. That was the goal for that time. So that was so good. I was very excited to be on the Contender Series. I kind of felt I lost the chance to be on the show in 2022 due to some busy issues. So it was a little bit some frustrating moments on that regard. But I knew I would get the shot again, and it just kept working. But as I said before, it was just lifting a weight on my head. It was a mission accomplished. Being part of the UFC, fitting the structure, fitting while coming with the UFC was just amazing. It was a great experience. But not the experience of being on the UFC, it's even better. Like the
Mhm.
fight night, now the next fight. I think I it was great. It was what I needed for that time. What I wanted to get the goal to get in the UFC doorstep inside it. But now my goals change. I wanted to fight for the title. I wanted to be the heavyweight champion in the future. So scratch everything that happened in the past. Forget all the wins and losses. Just keeping work to move ahead and come to the next fight stronger to get a win.
Now, of course, your next fight is Don'Tale Mayes, a guy who once fought the likes of Cyril Gane, beat Andrei Arlovsky, beat Mohamed Usman. He's a very experienced fighter. Do you think that this is the most difficult challenge you have ever had in your life? And is this the biggest fight ever in your life?
The biggest fight for me is always the next one. I'm very proud of myself that I never had to fight backwards where I was in a situation that I'm fighting someone less skilled or a lesser promotion or a lesser sport in the card. And even with the loss, I think the UFC saw that I did a lot of work. I in my head I thought I won the fight against Parkins.
Mhm.
So they gave me an experienced guy, a guy that's gonna stand with me, show, try to strike. That's a great matchup for me. But it's a tough guy, a guy that's been in the UFC for what 5, 7 years, and for like former champions, former interim champions. So it's gonna be a good experience, a good fight, and a win against Mays gonna put me in a great spot on the UFC.
Caio, you train under the legendary Chris Franco. However, your opponent, Don'Tale Mayes, he trains under the legendary Greg Jackson. He's a sparring partner of the likes of Jon Jones. How dangerous of a matchup is he for you? Once again, he's a guy who went, with Cyril Gane before. He was supposed to face Taito Iwasa. He was supposed to fight Justin Tafa. He beat Andrei Arlovsky and Mohamed Usman. How much of a challenge is this for you and your team? Of course, facing such an experienced fighter and a fighter who trains under the legendary Greg Jackson and is a sparring partner of Jon Jones.
Like honestly, the last time I fought one of Jones' sparring partners, I made him look a chump.
Mhm.
So that's not a problem for me. Chakwarski worked with Jones in the past before, and I I took like 3 punches from him on three rounds. I think Mays is a different fighter. He's a better fighter than Chakwarski per se, but I think it's a good matchup for me. He's a good fighter, a good striker, but I think I believe I'm a better striker. I'm bigger than Arlovsky. I'm stronger than a couple of the guys who can keep the pace in a way that I don't see Mace fighting me in the cage. It can keep coming in and out, tagging in, move around the cage. And I see even being a tough battle, I'll get my hand raised in the end.
And what do you think a victory over Don'Tale Mayes will do for your career? Is it going to get you closer to that top 15 ranking? And also, how do you think you match up against guys closing out the top 15 ranking in Jairzinho Rosenstrike, of course, Derek Lewis? How do you think you match up against those guys as well?
Those are the guys I would love to fight. Honestly, as I said before, I'd win against Mays, especially if we can knock him out. That would be great for my career. They're gonna put him in a great spot. If not in the top 15, very close to break into it. And yeah, I'm coming for those guys. I'm coming. I'll love, especially right now in the beginning. I'm still developing a little bit of my game, and I would love to fight those guys that are just big boys with big punches. I always dream to smash those, show what I actually fully MMA fighter how to do it, because it's not about being big and punch hard. We all do. We are heavyweights. We are 265 plus, and we are big. So we all punch hard. We all have that on our hands. But I can move. I can grapple. I can strike. And I'm gonna show not Maze, not just Maze, but all those guys in the future, knocking out Maze and coming up for whoever's next. I don't care about all the rankings right now. My goal in it's the next win, get a good victory, hopefully knock this guy out and come in whatever is the result, whatever is the ranking moving forward. Whoever beat whoever needs to beat towards my goal to be the champion.
And And of course, you recently visited Xtreme Couture Las Vegas. You trained with the likes of Sean Strickland under the coach of Eric Nixick, also with the likes of Chris Curtis. What was that experience like for you going to Xtreme Couture and training with those guys?
It was a great experience. You see, as I said before, one of the biggest things I was missing on my last camp would be able to work with bigger guys, and Xtreme Couture is packed with those. So I went there to get some work. I'm going again next tomorrow to work again with those guys, and it's been a great experience finding a lot of good fighters. It's a room of just killers that are just there for work and improving themselves. Love the environment, love the experience. I'm definitely going again to work with them, and I think if I can get those guys, keep working with the kind of level of partnership and stuff, I can only get better. So that's going to be really good for my career and moving forward.
And could you tell us, the fans, what is Sean Strickland like in person? What is it like, working with that guy? And, what is his energy like?
He he's the same kind of guy. He doesn't have any restrictions with what he says, and he's the hardest work in the room. Everything you see he doing in the fight and interviews, it's how he is. It's the guy who's always exploding, always putting the work, always talking. He's definitely the leader of the gym right now over there. He's a guy that you can see everyone around looked up to him, and he puts the work more than anyone else. Like, very impressive with his work ethic for sure.
And also, you visited the UFC PI Center as well. Could you tell us, the people as well, what is that facility like? Just want to hear what the space is like and what it's like, of course, being there. What are the amenities?
The PI is just a dream for every fighter. We have like the top of the equipment, facility, structure for work, for recovery, to do for strength and conditioning, PT, to work with the cage, the mats, and everything top of the line. Beside everyone that works with the PI is just is fantastic. Everyone that works with the UFC treated us so well. The the treatment, the experience, and everything there is just feels so much more professional than the average MMA scene that we do. That's kind of scattered. So we feel like I'm like in a soccer club, or I'm part of the basketball team where I have the training center and that actually big facility to work on, instead of we just scatter around multiple gyms and hopping from here to there. Gives a little bit more shows our job a little bit more professional than actually it is. But it's amazing. It's a great structure, and I definitely, with the culture training and the PI, I'm already taking Vegas as my second home right now. Like, a hub for me to get training done, and gonna keep doing that in the future for sure.
You're a UFC heavyweight fighter. There's no better person to ask this question than yourself. Of course, you proudly represent Canada and Brazil. What do you think it will take for Canada to raise the next George St. Pierre and, to raise the Canadian MMA scene? What do you think about the Canadian MMA scene in general? Are you surprised that it's so underdeveloped compared to the US? Of course, if we compare Canada with the likes of the US, and, for these, especially for these local promotions, local fighters, why are these guys not getting all the credit and coverage that they deserve? And what would it take for Canada to raise, the next elite UFC world champion? Of course, if we compare Canada with countries like Australia, where they have a number of different top UFC fighters, such as Robert Whittaker, Alex Volkanovski, Adesanya, many more. England has Tom Aspinall, Leon Edwards, Michael Bisping. What would it take for Canada to, develop more of these high-level UFC fighters?
I think it's the population thing with especially comparing to countries like US and Brazil, hits us a lot in a way that, like, we don't have enough people to compete in a like mathematic way. They will have more talent than us here in Canada. But nowadays, if you go and watch the local promotions, if you watch the local fighters, they're good talent here. They're good guys that come here. But it's so right now with the Canadian situation, it's so hard to live off fighting and develop. Like, it's a career that you need to dedicate your full time and your full attention to it. Then we can do right now. Like we need to be able to do that in a way that we have the best training possible. We need to live in the big centers, but like we can afford to just fight in those centers. So you can see you see like the guys fighting, he's coaching, he's bartending, he's going to school and go. Like there's too much things going on. With the Canadian economic situation affects us a lot. And I see a bright future for some of the guys in Canada, and all I myself look forward to do good things with MMA. But it's hard to improve when you have so much going on in place. So coming out of the break out of the original scene being a struggle for many of us.
Now, a couple last ones from me. Of course, you're a Battlefield veteran. You're a five-time defending heavyweight champion. How important was Battlefield in your growth, and of course, for you to get to the UFC? How important was this organization for you?
BFL was a great experience for me. It was a place that gave me a platform to show up my skills. I got to feel in the local scene and the regional level, grow up and get bigger spots and bigger opponents as it was coming up. And that's what BFL does better. It's a farm league. They do a great job to create and promote new fighters, new athletes, and you see a lot of guys coming in from the amateurs and turning pro, and now going to the UFC. You have with me and so we are 8 or 9 former BFL fighters on the UFC. So that's good for the promotion with the and for us with the Fight Pass deal. They locked in 2021. Gave us a better platform to show our skills, and BFL is doing a great job. I think there's this new generation is going to come with a couple fighters coming out from the contenders soon. Hopefully, this year we're gonna see a couple fellow PFL veterans over there, and soon they're gonna be in the UFC. I think that the PFL is doing a great job promoting the Canadian MMA with the Unify, Samurai. Those are the promotions that definitely put in the work to promote MMA here.
Mhm. Now, Caio, of course, you're on the verge of breaking into the top 15 rankings in the heavyweight division, become a ranked athlete very soon with a couple wins. What do you think that about the crazy UFC PR machine? And are you excited to do all of these different media obligations, or would you rather be on the quiet side? What is just the life of a professional athlete like? Is it something you always wanted?
I love my job. I love everything about my job, from fighting the cage to the lights of the interview, training hard all day. Give me all before putting me in office to work for 8 hours. So if I have to do media for 8 hours, if I have to train for 8 hours, if I have to fight for 5 rounds, please do that. I love my job. I love what I do. I love to talk to people. I'm very expensive. What's the word I'm looking for here? Outgoing guy. So any
Mhm.
kind of chat, any kind of interview, any kind of conversation, I say yes and jumping right away. So you always gonna have me to say yes to the kind of stuff. Plus, again, being a star, making money off fighting, being able to leave off my craft. That's what I've been working. I've been doing for years. So I can't wait to be to grow in this promotion, this division, and and become the champion and whatever comes with it.
Mhm. And of course, you recently visited Lions MMA Vancouver, where your fellow countryman, Rodrigo Ceznando, the BFL champion in super lightweight. Of course, we also have Neto Estrela, the BJJ head coach. How good is it for you to see, fellow Brazilians doing so well in Vancouver? And also, what do you think about that Lions MMA gym team?
So, first of all, about the Brazilians, it's great to have Brazilians around here. You see, I've been in Vancouver for about 9 years now, and all those 9 years, you see the community growing and everyone getting a little bit better, figuring out their lives, getting better spot on their jobs and what they're doing. So it's good to see how our community is growing and developing. To see Brazilians like fighting. We invented the sport, so it's good to have another fellow Brazilians around here. I think Rodrigo's case that he's doing on is the 165
Mhm.
champion. I think he's one of the guys that should be on the Contender Series on the path to the UFC soon. think he has a great fight coming up in his future, and with one win or two, he should be there.
I was wondering about Neto Estrella as well. How valuable do you think this guy is for Lions MMA? Also, what do you just think about the general team in Lions MMA? How good is this gym, for Canadian MMA?
So, and Matthews being a great BJJ coach for them, like I see he did very well in the ADCCs last year here in Canada. Like they they're working very well. They all Lions MMA overall has always been great friends with us, and always like to see they doing well with Rodrigo's fighting, Nathan's coaching and doing BJJ, Amir doing kickboxing. I believe he's going to be transitioning for MMA sometime soon. So yeah, I'm very happy to see not just Lions, with like any of fellow Vancouver guys doing well, improving themselves. I I think it's a way that, like, this sport's gonna grow if as we all grow together. There's no, especially now that I'm not in the regional scene anymore. There's no point to have any moss with anyone. I just want to get better training, getting better partners, getting see. I like to see everyone that I can. If everyone gets better, we all gonna get better together. So it's good to see how they're doing. All the other fighters in Vancouver and all the region doing well.
Mhm. And could we get a final message for all the Caio Bigfoot Machado fans out there worldwide?
For everyone that's a Bigfoot fan, thanks for supporting me. The journey's just beginning. April 27, we are coming for the kill. We're going to be the first guy to knock out Mays in the UFC, and we are coming for the belt anytime, sometime soon.
And could we also get a message for all the Brazilian fans in Portuguese?
Fala, galera do Brasil. Bigfoot na área. Obrigado pelo apoio, obrigado pela torcida. Dia 27 de abril, estamos de volta no UFC. Vamos buscar a vitória. Tamo junto.
Caio, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and it was great talking to you today.
My pleasure. Thanks very much for having me, and have a good day.